everything.
That's why they say,
Don't do. That's why I say don't do your laundry in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Well, even if you clean your lint trap, unfortunately, if you don't have good airflow, if for some reason your vent is really long or it's plugged out, that lint wants to fall. It doesn't get pushed
hang dry.
We woke up in the house, we both had smoke pouring out of the house, and I'm looking for what's on fire. And
a couple of things you've got up top. You have two thermostats. One, it senses temperature of the heating elements and it senses temperature of the air. So this is what regulates, your medium, your low, your high, all that kind of stuff.
so when it's not drying correctly, it's probably one of those.
Could be one of those. Generally, 90% of dryer issues are venting related issues.
Wow.
Or heater related issues. These things are usually pretty fail-safe. I mean, they're durable little thermostats. You have a thermostat here too that's sensing air coming in, sensing air going out, so then it regulates the temperature here. But when it's taking forever to dry, like it's taking 2 cycles to dry, check that vent. That vent has got to be plugged up somewhere. It's either kinked in the back, or the little flapper isn't opening, or it's blocked up with lint. 90% of the time, that's what the problem is.
So would it be blocked up with lint in here too?
It could be. Yeah, when you pull this thing open, you'll see this is the blower housing that turns off the motor, and these things will all be filled with lint. The whole bottom of there will be filled with lint. Yeah, you can pull these screws off. These screws off here, and then this whole thing will separate. Or you can just pull there's probably a screw on it or something. And then this thing will pull off, and you can feel in here and clean all the lint out of there. Sometimes as soon as you start it up without the vent connected to it, you got real good push of air. You can get in there and just with a wire hanger, break all the stuff loose and it'll be blowing, and then start the dryer up again, blow all that junk out, and just keep loosening that crap up inside the dryer. And you can get way inside with a brush and clean out the inside of this too. But if you see it all coated with lint on the inside of a dryer, they're probably using dryer sheets, which I don't recommend you use because it coats the inside of the dryer. It's almost like cholesterol. It's coating the inside of your arteries, the inside of the dryer, and it's catching all that lint as it's going through, and it's not good for the dryer.
Even liquid stuff leaves a little residue.
Even the liquid stuff. Yeah. I tell my wife, just use the liquid, don't use the dryer stuff. I don't want it. But I just take it apart and clean it anyway. And then poor airflow. So poor airflow and the dryer sheets, the inside of the dryer is going to get coated with lint. But the motor is, the motor's here. You can replace the motor. There's a bracket that snaps off over here, and then the motor will pop off the front, and you got to loosen the bracket, the blower housing, take a bunch of parts off, and then the motor will just come off of there. And then this bracket just snaps back on.
Kind of like the washer bracket for the motor?
Back into place. If the belt ever breaks, hear the motor switch, hear that little micro switch. So usually when the belt's on, this pulley is under tension about like this. The belt breaks, boom, goes in, opens that switch, the motor stops running. So it just doesn't run there without it actually turning. So we built that little safety switch into the motor. So this belt ever breaks, it won't start. It's because of that switches.
What is the heater fuse? Heater fuse?
No heater fuse, it's this high limit right here. This thing. These used to be what we call one-shot high limits. So once they opened, you had to replace them. Well, people that had bad venting, I mean, they were replacing that thing all the time. So then they made them resettable. For some reason, they made them one-shot for some reason. But now it'll shut it off and then it'll turn it back on. But hopefully the consumer will notice that my clothes aren't drying, and they'll call a service technician for their why. So gas is all this is the same on this side. On the gas, you just have a gas valve, and you have a burner tube, and then you have a different set of housing that comes up to blow the hot air through, and that's really it. Gas dryers are, they're a little more money than electric, but they're very reliable. They use an electronic igniter bar to ignite the gas. That electronic igniter bar will fail from time to time. And then sometimes the gas valve solenoids will fail, but that doesn't happen very often. But that's cheaper too. What's that?
But they're cheaper, like in the long run. I mean, it costs more to buy it, but like in the long run, you save a lot more energy.
Yeah, just I think you guys probably know better down here, gas versus electric, what the benefit is, but there's usually a 3-to-1 price advantage for gas than electric. In other words, you can run your gas dryer 3 times longer than an electric dryer for the same money.
No, I had an issue. Sorry,
What? Are you?
I had an issue where the pilot would go on every once in a while, and it would shut off
Pilot on the gas dryer?
on the gas dryer.
The
Right.
pilot?
It would go on for maybe a minute, 2 minutes, and then it would shut off. It wouldn't be like the temperature would reach the the right temperature or anything, but
That can be either the coils up on top aren't working properly because they help operate that glow bar.
Okay.
The glow bar or pilot light?
it's what was it?
Pilot light.
Yeah, it's pilot
Oh,
light.
it's a pilot light. Ooh. How old is what brand is it?
I thought it was a GE. I'm pretty sure it was because we just replaced it with another GE.
The one that we replace it.
Yeah.
The 11.
Standing pilot gas dryer?
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's I think its brand is Inquire.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that, if it was older, it could be just, because it's like a hot water heater, that have standing pilots. If the thermocoupling is bad, the pilot light wants to keep going out. So it must have been something with the sensing device on the pilot light. Now, the new gas dryer you have doesn't have a standing pilot, it has an electronic ignition.
Yeah, that's what we got now. Okay.
So let me show you how to put the drum back in and connect the belt. I happen to know how to do it.
What's
Fairly
that 2 grooves
easy.
for?
What's that?
What's that 2 grooves for? Different model?
Well, the groove that doesn't have the screw is where the belt goes. I know that for a bit. And then
That makes sense.
it's probably for strength. Because it's round like that,
Extruded.
so they'll take and ding a groove in there for some
It'll be
reason.
strong. That
Yeah, to strengthen it.
So then if it squeals, it's not the belt, it's the,
If it squeals, it's generally this bearing back here.
or the front of the drum?
Yeah,
Like you
or up front here, yeah. If it's squealing all the time, or if it squeaks, it's this bearing is bad more than likely.
And you
If it's making a loud like shh rubbing noise all the time, it's usually up front here.
Okay.
So an eek 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 or a continual squeal is usually the back bearing, and then just a loud loud really rubbing abrasive noise is usually these things are bad.
What would you put on the back bearing, or would you just have to replace it?
Just replace the back bearing. Yeah, you can replace the back bearing and use a little bit of high temperature grease.
Okay.
Even though we don't,
Do you need special tools to install that and to remove it?
the bearing. No, there's just I can't get it off. There's just a little
C-clip?
It's on there. No, it's just a little plastic clip in a groove.
Or snap clip?
Yeah, that way. Well, but you never want to take those screws off. Holy There's see the screws on the inside.
No, man.
This whole bracket will fall off, and then you're trying to hold this and screw that together at the same time. So yeah, you never have to take that apart unless unless the bearing wears it completely off, and then but the stud that this bearing fits on is pretty strong steel. It'll usually wear this is softer metal. So if they squeal long enough, this thing will be all elongated because this thing has just been rubbing away at it. This hard steel will usually wear away at that softer steel first. But sometimes this thing needs to be replaced. Hence the reason why there's screws, but it's a nightmare to take off. Very first one I did, I'll never forget it, as long as I live. I didn't know, they just throw me in the truck and say, go fix dryers. And I took that thing off. Unscrewed it here. All this stuff fell down on the inside, and it took me forever to try to put it all back together.
What's on this? I didn't have a chance to see.
Oh yeah, sure. So they just use a little plastic retainer clip here. I mean, I could probably peel it off of here, just so when you're trying to put the drum back in, the bearing doesn't slip off on you and fall down in there, because
this
goes on an angle.
All this comes apart.
Yeah, all this comes, this stays part, but at least this frame, this used to be all separate pieces. Now they made it all one big piece. Yeah, it's all one big piece now.
And so those heating elements, do those ever go bad or?
Oh, yeah, those will go bad. Easy,